All right, guys, so today we get to begin our first class novel of second semester. The book that we are all going to be reading for the next 4 weeks is Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper. This book has been around for a little bit, and since its first publication, has actually won a bunch of different awards. And so our end in mind for today is going to be to do an introduction to this book, talk about how this book is going to fit into our learning for the next couple of weeks, and then actually get to spend some time diving in to this book today. So here we go. Make sure you have your book out in front of you, and let's get started. Right off the bat, when you start reading today, you're going to meet our main character. Melody is our main character, and she has some really cool, unique aspects to her. First of all, she has photographic memory. One of the quotes from the book that I just really love is, she has a photographic memory. Her head is like a video camera that is always recording, always. There's no delete button. She is the smartest kid in her whole school, but no one knows it. So I want you to pay attention to this idea of memory, Melody's idea of memory, and how getting an insight to Melody really helps us understand her brain even better. So as you continue to read, you're going to see more cool things about Melody that help us love her throughout the whole book. She has this memory that we just talked about, but she has a couple of other unique things to her as well. She can't walk, she can't talk, and she can't write. She is in a wheelchair. So one of the things that you're going to see right off the bat is that people don't think she can learn like other kids her age. So for example, she goes to the room every day and she sings the same songs, reads the same book, and really she's a genius, but because she can't talk and she can't write, nobody knows that. And so very quickly in the story, you are going to start seeing how wrong the people in Melody's life have been about Melody and her ability to learn. There is so much power in this story, and this is one of the reasons why I chose this story for us to read, because all of the literature that we have in our ELA classes is all about thinking outside of ourselves, right? And this story through and through talks about thinking outside of yourself and inspires us to do the same. You're going to really see a bunch of different themes come out in this story, and we're going to talk more about that this week. But one of those is to not judge a book by its cover, because something happens in this story that allows Melody to find her voice and share it with the world around her. And this is where the power in this story comes from. When this happens, the people around Melody change, and they change for the rest of their lives because of what happens in this story. And so I really kind of want you to pay attention to that idea of power and change as we begin to read this story today. So a couple of expectations that I have for you guys as we begin this class novel together. You are going to have until January 25th to read this book. We will have carved out time during our lessons to stop and read, and you actually also have all of break week that you are going to be expected to be reading this book as well. I need you guys to understand that having due dates and expectations for when things are completed, that's life lesson for you. And it is so important because you're going to have them the rest of your life. So this is a great way for us to really practice being proactive and planning ahead. We know that by the 20th of February, this book has to get done. And so if you're noticing that as we're going through reading during our class lessons together, you're like, you know what, I'm going to need to add more times outside of the class lessons because I know that due date is coming up, you're going to have the ability to plan for that. And that's why beginning with the end in mind is so powerful. We know the 25th is the due date. And so if after a couple of days we see, I'm going to have to start reading outside of class time or on the weekend and for sure on break week, then that's going to be something that you are going to need to take and own, because that is going to be what your need is for this reading. And you are going to need to be in charge of kind of listening to that. So like I said, this may mean that reading is going to have to happen outside of school time, after school, on the weekends, and for sure on break week. And that's okay, guys, because we don't have a ton of homework here at iAcademy Global, but this reading of our class novel might need to be that for you if that is what you need. And that's okay. So today, for the rest of the time, except for maybe the last 5 minutes of PLA, you're going to read. You're going to open up the book. You're going to start reading the first couple of pages. And then your kind of exit ticket today is going to be to do the discussion board that's listed in your lesson today that talks about your initial reactions to the story. I just want to see what your first impressions are. What do you think after reading the first couple of pages? What predictions do you have? You're going to upload this thread into our discussion board, and then we'll continue reading for the rest of the week. So go ahead, get started, and I can't wait to see what you think.